So in the last video, while explaining the controlled versus uncontrolled components, I had used useState and useRef. So what is the difference in between the useState and the useRef? It is a generally asked interview question. So it is not asked to test our syntax, but it is asked if we do understand the re-renders in the React. So without wasting any time, let's check that out. So firstly, let's just check the example of a use state. So as you can see in this, we have a use state whose initial value is currently 0, and we have a setter function named as setCount, and we also have a variable named count, and also we have a button on click, and on that click we have a set count, which is like current value of our counter function and +1. So current value is 0, 0 plus 1 would be 1. So every time we are clicking on the button, so the use state gets updated, and with that updation React re-renders the component, and only on that re-render we are able to see the updated value. Without the re-render we won't be able to see the updated value of that. So this is an example of a re-rendering of a component with the help of a use state. So what we have seen is, on the click of a use state, React triggers re-render, React updates the value, and is meant for value shown on screen. So now let's just check the example of a useRef hook. What is a useRef hook with an example? So in the useRef hook, currently as you can see, we have assigned the default value as null. Unlike useState, we were using 0 as the default in the counter function. In the useRef hook, we have assigned that to null, and also we have assigned the const to interval ref. And also we have two functions other than that, start and stop. Those start and stop functions are assigned to start button and stop button underneath. So every time the start button gets pressed, the interval ref.current gets triggered. So what is current in this? In the use state we were not using any as such thing as current. So let's just check the example of a useRef. In the useRef, it is by default an object, and in that object we have current as the value. In useState we were not having anything as such as current, but in useRef we have a current. So every time we have to target the useRef hook, so we have to type in interval ref.current. So currently I have used interval ref as const, so I am explaining with that, but xyz we have typed in anything xyz dot current we have to use. So coming back to our example, so in this we have interval ref.current. So every time the button is pressed, so this start functions get triggered, and with this start functions we are hitting the set interval function unless and until we press the stop button. So when we press the stop button, this function gets triggered and the clear interval gets triggered. So clear interval is interval ref.current. It clears all the running function and it stops away. So all in this process we are not re-rendering anything. So that's the main difference in between useRef and useState. In useState we were rendering upon click. Every time we render we were changing the UI, and this function is underneath, it is going in the backend, so it is not changing anything. So simply, if we have to remember this, if we have to change the UI of our component, then we have to use a useState. If we don't have to change the UI of our component, we can use useRef. So lastly, the interview tip. So the interviewer can ask, why doesn't updating useRef re-renders a component? So we can simply say that because React does not track the dot current for rendering. The dot current is the same which we were using in useRef. So the dot current does not get rendered because it is mutable object and it is stored across renders. So I hope you like the useState versus useRef difference. If you like it, then do like, share and subscribe, and stay tuned for more. Thank you.